Hello! Welcome to Let's Go Wild, where we talk about how to walk in love daily with God, with ourselves, and with others. Hey, it's September. It's September! Can you believe it? All right, I have a super fun September surprise for you. And it is... Ta-da! My daughter! This is Annabelle. This is who takes all of my recordings of these videos and magically changes them to look amazing. Yay! Speaking of changes, guess what the topic is for this week?
Change.
That was a good transition. Our family went through a lot of changes within this last year. Dad and I, we sold the house and moved up here to Washington, and therefore, thereby, and because of it, left our children in Georgia. And that brought a lot of changes for you.
It did. It made me look for an apartment, get a full-time job. It expanded me to get new friendships and start new relationships. And it was really, at the end of it all, it was scary in the beginning because it was new and it was unknown. But it just kept going and pushing, and it's beautiful now of what the change turned out to be.
You know, it's funny because... there's that part in Nemo. Who likes Finding Nemo? That part in Nemo where the dad says to Dory that he promised Nemo that he would never let anything happen to him. And Dory was like, that's kind of funny to promise. Because if you don't never let nothing happen to him, she says it kind of like that, then nothing's ever going to happen to him. And that's not reality, right? That's not life. God doesn't promise to us that nothing's ever going to happen to us, and even that it's not even going to be easy. But what he does promise is that he'll always be with us, and he will always be there to help us make good decisions, right? And that he will always love us unconditionally.
And what's crazy about that is... a change that I went through is after high school, I did a gap year, and in that gap year, I went to South Africa, and there was one verse in there that we taught the kids. It's Joshua 1:9, and we did it like this: "Have I not commanded you? Do not be afraid. Be strong and courageous. Do not get discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And that goes along the lines of, no matter the change, she'll always be there for you.
Always. Earlier, Annabelle and I were reading this article that a guy named David Easter, that's a fun name. No, Dennis. Sorry, David. Not David. Dennis Easter, if you're watching. Shout out. But he talked about what the differences of the word change and transition are. Because in my mind, I thought they were more like the same. Things change, things go through transition, but he talks about them in a way that...
they're interchangeable.
Yeah. Well, change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Like how summer comes and goes and brings with it all kinds of changes.
The weather starts to change. You go from being home all the time, and now you're back in school.
But transition is more the process. Like change is kind of the noun. It's the event that happens. But transition is how you go through that change.
And it's like an inward journey that we take from what used to be to where we're gonna go.
Yeah. So he talked about, what I really liked was he talked about these three parts of the journey. There's the ending, and that's the change, right? It's what was that isn't anymore. he talks about the exploring, and that is what could be. When you start thinking about, all right, well, what was isn't anymore, so what could be? And then there's the, what was it? The engaging, where you decide what I'm going to do with this change, and you make the action towards it. It kind of reminded me of how forgiveness works. When we ask for forgiveness, that's the end. That's the change. God says, you're forgiven, and I wipe your slate clean. So then we have an ending, right? What was isn't anymore. God doesn't even see it anymore. Then we get to decide, how am I going to act today? And we explore. And then we make a decision, and we live out our life in the engagement part of it. And so really, we get to go through this journey every day. Oh, every day. Sorry about that. Kalia got really excited about that idea.
She did. She was like, we get to change. And we get to change, sometimes we go to a different school, and sometimes we move to a new area, and you really have the opportunity to explore who you want to be, to explore what kind of friendships you want to create, and who you want to be authentically. And it could be a little freaky at first. It can. Like you said, you're wiping your slate clean. You have a fresh start, a new place, a new beginning, a new class, new grade. But it can also be exciting.
New world.
Don't go to Aladdin on me. I will go into full musical.
Okay.
But like I said, it can also be exciting because that just means that something
good's gonna happen. Yes. Way to incorporate. All right. So here's the challenge for the week. Are you ready for the challenge? The challenge is, I would love for you to recognize what changes have happened to you recently. I mean, some are pretty obvious, right? And where are you in the transition of it all? Explore it. Explore how you want to handle the change. All right? And then you can go wild. It's a choice. It's a choice. Just like you went wild with us now. So we say, thanks for going wild with us. See you next week. Bye.